Welcome back to episode 5 of my Construct Pokemon Red Edition. Now, last time we looked at adding attack animations, and if we play this now, we can see these in all their glory. I've added a couple of animations since that last video, so now I've got access to a Flamethrower animation. I have got access to a Razor Leaf animation, and access to a really simple Bubble Beam animation. So this gives us some attacks that we can use, and in that video we also made it so we can flip this and have the enemy attack us as well. But now I want to make it so this is a seamless battle that goes back and forth until someone loses. So let's get started. First thing that we need to do is we need to set up a brand new object, and this is going to be an array. We're going to call this enemy moves. Now if you remember when we set up our own moves previously, an array is just a collection of data that we're able to pull data from. So now we can go to our event sheet. We're going to make use of this on start of layout and our moves we set up previously. So I'm going to hold shift to select all of these actions and then go into copy and paste and then right click and replace object and enemy moves. This means we've got the exact same data but in a brand new array. Now the big difference with this one is we cannot have a blank event for this one. If we do have a blank event, the opponent will do absolutely nothing and then it'll be the player's turn. Now there are ways to combat this and to stop this from happening, but this eats up a couple more events and I want to make sure that we're not using as many events as we need to because we're limited to 50 on the free version. I want to see how far we can get creating a full Pokemon game in the least number of events possible. So instead of having an empty move here, I'm just going to do a duplicate, which means the opponent's got twice the amount of chance of selecting this move over one of the other ones. So I'm going to set that to Razor Leaf and make sure I've done it correctly. I've put a space here, so I need to make sure that I've put a space onto this one as well. So now my opponent's got Razor Leaf, Flamethrower, Bubble Beam, and Razor Leaf. Now we need to get it to pick one of those moves. So we're going to go down to our moves and we're going to do a couple of things. First of all, after every move that we do, we show the options, allowing us to pick another move or do another action. Because now we've got the computer involved and the computer is going to be making use of these moves again, we do not want to go back to the show option. So we're going to get rid of this one here. Instead, we're going to add a new action under system and we're going to set up a new signal. Now all signals are a way to say I'm about to do this action and something on the other end will wait for the action to be done. So I'm going to call this one continue, as it's going to allow us to continue. And I'm just going to copy and paste this for all my free moves. Now what we've got here is our player's turn and our enemy's turn. This is going to be how we're going to choose who's attacking what and which attacks we're going to use. So first thing we need to do is just change this to as another condition and we want to trigger once while true. So only get one move at a time. We can copy and paste this for the enemy's turn. We're actually going to start with the enemy's turn first. So we're going to add an action. And first thing is we're going to wait for signal. And of course our signal is going to be continue. And again, making sure that that is spelled the exact same as how we spelled it previously. Now, once we've got the signal continue, we need to perform an attack. So already our attacks are being mirrored and flipped. So what we want to do is do system, signal, and then our signal is going to be slightly different than what we did before. We're going to do enemy moves dot at, and then the first one is going to be set to 0, and the second one is going to be set to random 0 to 3. And we just need to make sure these brackets are all closed off at the end and hit enter. Now when we set up this array at the very beginning, you'll see that each move has got a number after it, so 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3. That's what we're getting the random part from, which means our moves being selected by our opponents are completely random. Now one thing that I've done wrong is actually we just need to flip these two. So at the start of the opponent's move, it does the move straight away, and then it will wait for the signal to continue, and that signal will only happen once the move animation's finished, once we get to the end here. So what do we want to do after the opponent has finished this attack? Well, once it's finished this attack, at this stage, all we want to do is toggle boolean player's turn. So now it's the next player's turn. So what do we want to do when it's our turn? well, we're not going to select a random move. We want to allow the player to pick their moves. So we're going to go to our functions and show options. So now we've got the option to choose what move that we want. We're then going to wait for the signal continue, and then we're going to toggle player's turn, making it the opponent's turn as well. So very similar to what we've done before, but instead of us picking an option, the opponent picks a random option instead. And with all this set up, we're ready for our first test. So we can hit play, and we'll start first. I'm going to use a move. It attacks. As soon as I hit enter, the opponent will use a move back, and then it's my turn. Now I want to test that these moves are truly random, so I'm going to use a different move, and the opponent uses a different move back. So we've now got a very simple attack system, back and forth. And again, if we want to adjust the opponent's moves, we just change here. If you want it so your opponent only had one move or two moves, we can just change all of these to be Flamethrower to match our Charmander. So that's our choice there. Final thing we need to do is make it so our health goes down. So first thing I'm going to do is we're going to go over to our computer's health on the right hand side here, click, edit behaviors, and we're going to add what's called the tween behavior. Now all the tween does is animate between two states of an object, and we're going to use this to make it so the animation or animate the health bar going down. So we're going to add that, and we're going to do the same for our own health. So edit behaviors, add new behavior, scroll down, and tween. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to create 3 brand new variables. So we're going to take one more here, so I'm just copy and pasting this one to save time. This one's going to be called player's health, and I'm going to start by giving the player 50 health. I'll be really generous to our player. I'm then going to take a computer variable, just copy and paste it, and I'm going to call this computer health. And again, we'll give them 50 health just to be generous as well. So this is their starting health. Final thing I'm going to do is going to create one final global variable, and this is going to be called move power, and this is going to start at 0. And we're going to use this variable to detect how much damage a move has been doing, then we can apply it to the correct health on either side. First thing we're going to do is go to any of the moves and add action. We're going to go to system, and we're going to set value. And we want to set the value of move's power. Now, in normal Pokemon, there's lots of damage calculations based off the Pokemon's attack damage, based off the move you're using, and some other factors as well. To keep this really, really simple at this stage, we're just going to give it a flat out damage rate. Now, to keep this more interesting, I'm going to actually use random. And I'm going to say that this is a random move between 5 and 15. I'm then going to go to Razor Leaf, and I'll give this just a number. Let's just say that this one's actually only 8 and it's more consistent. And then we'll do Bubble Beam, and let's do a random number again, and let's say that this is between the range of 7 and 10. So some random numbers just to mix it up, so it's not the case of I'm just going to pick the one that does the most damage. You can pick one that's more consistent, and actually I'm going to put this down to 6. There we go, and that makes Razor Leaf right in the middle. So this is something that will change down the line, and we'll make it so the Pokemon's attack damage plays a part in it, but at this stage we're going to keep it really, really simple. So now we've got these moves attack in, we now need to apply it to the health bar. Now there's a couple of places that we can apply it to the health bar, but we're going to make use of the player's turn and the opponent's turn. So we're actually going to apply the health damage at the end of the turn, just before we toggle back to the next turn. So let's just add an action below, and then we'll move it to the correct place. So the first thing I'm going to do is do system and subtract from. Now, because it's the player's turn, it means it's attacked the computer, so the computer's health is going to be subtracted by move's power, whatever that might be. So again, we'll just shift that up. Second thing we need to do is adjust the health bar. Now, to adjust the health bar, what we're going to do is we're going to take the current size of it, which is 143. I'm going to use that to work out how big or small this health bar needs to be. So we're going to add action, computer's health bar. scroll down, and we're looking for tween one property, and its end value is going to equal 143 divided by the max health of the Pokemon. In this case, both our Pokemon have 50 health, so it's nice and simple. And then times that final result by the computer's health. And then tween time is how long it takes to complete that animation. We'll keep it as 2 seconds, nice and simple. And again, we just move this up just before the next turn happens. Now with this done, we can just copy and paste these two fields here, and we're just going to do the same thing again. We're just going to swap these over. So instead of subtracting from computer's health, we now want to subtract from player's health, and hit done. In terms of the computer health bar, we can replace this object with the player's health bar, and then just double click, and again, max health. Mine's both at 50, but if you've got different health for your computer and player, that would change. And then this one needs to be times the player's health. An issue I've just spotted with the code is on our tween values, we need to change property X to property width. So just change that one, and that should fix that weird error that we got. So let's test it once more. So do an attack, and hit enter. Health bars start to go down, and then do an attack. Our health bar is going down now. Let's see if we can get a big hit on our opponent. Their health bar will go down, and then so will ours. Now you notice that the opponent's attacking before our health bar finishes going down. If you want to fix this, it's a really simple fix. All we're going to do is just add a new action, system, and then wait. And we're going to set it to the same time as what our animation set to on our tween. So 2 seconds, 2 seconds. This means now the player's turn will not be triggered until that animation is finished. Final thing we're adding in today's video then is have a death sequence. So when the player dies, they disappear and it says you either win or lose. So really simple to add this feature. It's going to add a new event, system. We're then going to compare a variable. I'm going to check if computer's health is less than or equal to 0. If so, they have died. So how do we show that to the player? So first thing we can do is take the Pokemon computer and we can destroy it. Now to give them a bit more indication as well, we're going to use a function and we want to do show dialog. And just like we've done before when we showed dialog, we can also change the dialog text. So we can do dialog text, scroll down, set text, and because the computer's fainted, it means you win. Obviously, you can make your message whatever you like and make it a little bit more exciting. On the flip side, we're going to copy and paste this, change computer's health variable to player's health. And instead of you win, you lose. And instead of the Pokemon computer being destroyed, we're just going to replace object with Pokemon player. So we get destroyed instead. Now, one final bug that we just need to fix before we're ready to do our test is these moves will finish no matter what. So if you defeat the computer will die. The computer will still do an attack, even though the computer's not physically there, until that turn's completely ended. So all we want to do is underneath both lines 17 and 18, we're going to add another condition. And we're going to just go to system, compare variables, and say computer's health is greater than 0. And we also want to do the same for player's health. So we're just going to say compare variables and scroll down. The player's health is greater than and 0. And then we can shift, copy and paste, and do these below. And this just means that these attacks will only keep happening while a Pokemon is alive on both sides. So let's do one final test today. We fight, and let's see if I can win this fight. So I'm going to start with a Razor Leaf, and that's done a fair amount of damage. I then get hit with a Bubble Beam, and that's done an alright amount of damage, not too much. I'm going to risk a Flamethrower, hoping I get a really big attack off. and we can see that we've done all right. Not a massive amount, we've hit about middle. And I think I'm going to play it safe, and I think a Razor Leaf might kill now. I think he's just on the smallest sliver of health. So I've lost, I've died. It was a very, very close battle, but hopefully now you've got your own working Pokemon battle. And in the next video, we're no longer going to be in the battle mode, because once we've won the battle, we're now going to be in the overworld where we can roam around and go around our town and fight wild Pokemon. So if you enjoyed this video, obviously it's been a bit of a longer one today, please like and subscribe and follow along for more Pokemon and more Construct tutorials. I'll see you in the next video.